Robert, I hear occasionally these words aid and attendance. I know it is a benefit to veterans, and so I wanted to talk about aid and attendance. And let's start by talking about who qualifies for aid and attendance, which veterans, because it's not every veteran that is entitled to aid and attendance.
It is a veteran that has served at least 1 day during wartime, and then they can qualify from that. There is an asset limit when you apply for it. It's a hard asset limit, $150,000. Does not include the house, but it differs greatly than from Medicaid. So like where Medicaid, a retirement plan is not countable, with VA it is included in it. But it is a perfect accompaniment for somebody that's at home on long-term care waiver or at an assisted living, because it differs. So you would make a VA application like you would any other application. You request it, and it takes a little bit of time, where like 5, 6, 7 months of time to get.
So issue number one for somebody out there thinking, hey, I'm a veteran. Am I entitled to aid and attendance? You just explained got to serve one time during wartime. What's defined as wartime? What's defined as serving? I don't really know, and you may not know the detail, but how would somebody find out if they're entitled to it?
They would just get their records, and then it's just run through the computer. And it's not that they have to be like frontline wartime. It's literally any time enlisted during when the nation is at war.
Okay, well, even that's...
Doesn't have to be World War I or World War II or anything like that.
I'm sure it's defined somewhere, but I don't necessarily know what those dates are. But so let's say that you are a veteran. Let's say that you were entitled to aid and attendance. How would a typical veteran use this aid and attendance benefit? When would they need it? What are the benefits?
So they need it. It's very, very comparable to the long-term care waiver. When you need help or you need assistance. And so I know we always talk about the long-term care waiver, and that gives you, Tom, people to come to your house 30 hours a week.
Okay.
The VA doesn't deal with it that way. They give you, if you are the veteran, they're giving you $3,000 a month to spend on your care. So if you have the long-term care waiver, you can get 30 hours, and then if you get the VA, which you can have both, then they're going to give you an extra $3,000 to buy more care.
Thank you, Robert. This is coming clear to me now, okay? But let's just say that they're not using, at this moment in time, the Florida waiver, the 30 hours per week of in-home care. They're just using the aid and attendance.
Yep.
The VA will give them $3,000 a month that they will turn around the veteran and hire their own help to come
Correct.
into their home. Is the VA making sure that they spend that $3,000 a month on somebody coming into the home?
The VA is pretty stringent, right? There's more like a checks and balances with that. However, the good part is, let's say it takes 6 months to get approved for it. The VA will pay all the way back to the beginning when you make the application.
Okay.
So you could really get a big old good size amount of money into your account to help pay. And so if we look, and again, trying to compare it to the waiver or whatever, that aid and attendance is not considered income. So if down the road you applied for the waiver, you would not need a qualified income trust because you're having that aid and attendance.
Okay. So could a $3,000 a month, let's just say that there are services out there that will provide some in-home care. I'm going to use a round number. That's probably $50 an hour.
You can realistically 30 to 34.
So just do quick math. If it was $50 an hour, $3,000 a month, I think would be 60 hours a week that they could get.
Yeah.
If it's less than $50 an hour, it might be 80 hours a week or 80 hours a month. That's 20 hours a week roughly, okay?
Yes.
Okay. And then, so then could a veteran use that money to pay a family member to come in and provide this help to them?
They could.
Okay.
And then even there is a survivor benefit. So if the veteran is not there, or it's the veteran spouse that needs it, they can get aid and attendance for the spouse. but it's not. They don't get that full 3,000. They tone down to about 15 or 1,600 bucks.
When the veteran goes to the VA and says, "Hey, I'd like to have the aid in attendance, the $3,000 per month," is the VA making them prove that they need this in-home care? Is there questions that are going to be asked of them?
There are.
And
there are.
it's probably similar to the waiver program, like, do you need help going to the bathroom? Do you need help moving around your house? Those kinds of things.
Yeah, the VA is much more stringent and strict than the long-term care waiver. There's a
Okay.
lot more intricacies to it.
Okay.
And like you can do personal service contracts because they have that hard 150,000 asset limit, but it's different. Like a VA personal service contract has to have certain language in it where you have to be able to do activities of daily living for somebody.
Okay. So on the radio show and with our clients, we're often talking to them about Florida has a waiver program of free in-home care for seniors, up to 30 hours per week of free in-home care when you need it. If you're a vet, you can get the aid in attendance, $3,000 a month on top of that, or you could get it instead of that if you wanted to.
Correct.
Okay. Well, that really helps me out, Robert. And just out of curiosity, of all the people that we're helping, all the clients we're helping, how many of them are entitled to VA aid in attendance as well? What percentage?
Probably about 20%. And then, Tom, additionally, you can take that $3,000 a month and you can still put it towards assisted living, which is really a good benefit because assisted livings are expensive, and that would certainly pay a lot of the rent at most assisted livings.
Excellent point, Robert. So when we talk about free in-home care, it doesn't have to be a home that you're living in or you own. You could be living with your kids, or you could be living at assisted living, right?
For the waiver, assisted living, they're going to pay the medical portion of the bill.
Okay. All right. Well, all great information, folks. And if you are looking for more information, I'm sure you can find out more by calling the VA and Googling this aid in attendance. But I want to give people a general idea of what it's about.